Hello and welcome to Morningstar. I'm Valerio Baselli and today I'm joined by Rachel Whittaker, Head of Sustainable Investing Research at Robeco. Good morning, Rachel, and thank you.
Good morning.
So from the very first days of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the war has been held up as supposedly revealing fundamental flaws in sustainable investing for many reasons. The most controversial point concerns the exclusion of military contractors and makers of weapons. What is the central issue, the new key point of controversy within such a debate?
We have seen some discussion among a small group of sustainable investors about whether military weapons should still be excluded from sustainable portfolios. And the main basis for that discussion is whether weapons could in fact be a necessary tool to protect peace and democracy. Could weapons actually have a positive contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals through maintaining SDG 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions? And that's been fueled somewhat by a draft social taxonomy from the EU Sustainable Finance Group that really only explicitly deems the most controversial weapons to be fundamentally opposed to social objectives. And that narrow definition raises the possibility among some investors that maybe there is a role for certain types of firearms to play a role in achieving certain social aims, such as protecting human rights. But in the end, this is a central tenet of sustainability that has been held for many decades, and I think for good reasons. The strength of feeling about weapons goes very deep. More weapons are not a guarantee for safer or more peaceful societies, and maybe even the opposite. And one of the key goals underpinning SDG 16 is actually to reduce all forms of violence. And so to permit weapons does seem to be going against the Sustainable Development Goals in that sense. So while I think it's important that we have these discussions and make sure that Hell's beliefs are still relevant and still robust, I actually don't see a significant shift in sentiment towards weapons happening in the near term.
Sustainable investing is not an anti-defense industry per se. Should it be this way, in your view? And more broadly, what is your reaction to this dispute and how do you think this will end?
So sustainable investing is very diverse, and the intention is to try and positively invest in the companies and the industries that are going to be driving a more sustainable future. So while what that means is that it avoids the defense industry and certain other types of activities, I agree it's not intended to be anti-defense industry. Certainly some of the technologies that have been developed within the aerospace and defense industry could have very useful applications within sustainable development. But ultimately, we have to make decisions about what are the types of products and the types of economic activities that we think have place within sustainable portfolios. I think for many investors, this doesn't include weapons.
As you said, when we talk of sustainable investing, we refer to a very diverse universe of strategies. What will be the drivers for growth in the future? Will environmental issues predominate always, in your view?
We've seen a lot of focus on environmental issues in the last few years, and I think there are a few different reasons for that. One is that measuring the footprint and a company's environmental footprint or the environmental impacts that they have is much easier than measuring social impacts. But also with a growing focus more generally in society on sustainability, it tends to focus more on environmental topics. With the evolving regulations and taxonomies, we've seen them first focus on environmental issues. So I expect to see social issues catching up. I don't think that environmental issues will become any less important. To achieve sustainable development, we need to be looking at both environmental and social issues. And it is just because it's more difficult to look at social issues shouldn't mean that we shy away from trying to incorporate those factors into our investment strategies as well. In the end, both environmental and social issues are interlinked. Many of the social problems that we're going to face are going to be linked to environmental change. So we have to look at all of these issues together and treat them as one ecosystem.
Rachel, thank you so much. For Morningstar, Valerio Baselli. Thanks for watching.